YouTube. Hello, everybody. So, I'm living one of my worst fears, and it comes every time I go to the post office. Window mail. Social Security, 1250 Buffalo Road, Suite 150. You know, the end of my life could be in any one of these envelopes. I just absolutely mortify when I pull one of these. We're out of the welfare office, and I don't like being on welfare, and I'll explain that later. You know, you get that letter, no telling, and you got to go fight this, and you got to go through whatever you got to go through to reestablish or whatever you have to do, or in my case, people think I'm going crazy, I'm just being melodramatic, or walk out into the desert and fall over and die. That is actually my choice. Literally, it is. People think I'm a goof being that way, but it is actually my choice. So let's see if I go die, or if there's just something to inform you of something. Or it could be good news. Your current monthly supplemental security income SSI payment is $325 for September 2016. You'll continue to get this amount each month unless there is a change in the information we use to figure out your payment. So I'm getting a $20 raise. But it's wrong. If I was getting 25 about each month, your bank there's payment of $360.67 around September 1st, 2016. On the first of after that, while withholding $8.33 from September 2016 payment, we will complete recovery of all overpayments, of which I fought for years. And this is going to be that video for that. To say, what are you talking about, or get a variance, or something. So, I get 20 of my dollars back. Okay, here's the story. I got these withholding things saying I was overpaid this, overpaid that, thousands of dollars. My children got letters, overpaid thousands of dollars, right? And this and that. So I called them, right? I said, well, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Maybe I could straighten this out. I don't know what you're talking about, because they're talking $4,000 or $5,000 a piece when we first got on it. And I'm like, how did you overpay me when all I've gotten was about $1,000 in payments? I don't know what they call them, entitlements. And so I called, right? And on the letter, let's see, what's on the bottom here. Oh, okay, we're back onto this. Sorry. Here it explains your reporting responsibilities. You can review the stuff, which I wanted to do. Things you should know. If you disagree, you have 60 days to file an appeal in writing. The 60 days starts the day after you receive this letter. We assume you received this letter 5 days after the date on the letter. You must have a good reason for waiting more than 60 days to file an appeal. How to appeal. Okay, and they explain to you, you must request an appeal in writing. Please use our request for reconsideration form, SSA 516-U2, which is available on our website at www.socialsecurity.gov on the internet. Right? You can also contact us by phone, by mail, or come into the office to obtain the form if you need it. Obtain the form. If you need assistance, we can help you fill out the form. There are two types of appeals. In most cases, you can choose the one you want. case in informal conference. Now, over the several years that I've been fighting this, I've sent several of these SSA 561-U2 forms in. I've called innumerable times, right, on the phone. Every couple of months I would get one of these letters and just follow up. I would call, right? I've even went down there, which was no easy task for me. You know, just for that, I'd have to multitask it. And when you go to the Social Security office, it is always filled with people. So it's an all-day thing. One time I spent 5 hours sitting, you know, which is a given. And this and that, right? Now, in that time, none of these people, except for 2 people, had given me any information. They would diddle, you know, ticky on their computer and this and that, right? And, oh, gee, Mr. Reed, I don't know, I really can't seem to find anything. Well, tell you what, you take this paper, right? Where is it? I hate when I do that. An SSA 561-U2. Fill it out. Here's an envelope. Send it to me, right? Complied with all this stuff for 2 years at the very least. The very least. And got no response. I got continuing letters, continuing things to fill out, or just blank, nothing. 2 people, and I'll tell you something. The 2 people, the one was a Polynesian lady, Pacific Islander voiced person that was on the phone. I have a friend, Jenny. She's, a friend of mine, right? She's from the Philippines. So you can tell the accent, all these, that's how it's so obvious, right? I'm not being a racist. In my world, you have to be pretty slick as to judge people, all the information you can glean off of someone, right? Their nuances, their attitude, eye contact, eye structure, eye attitude, facial expressions. I read them like a book. I read them like a book, man. Like I just read this paper. Right? Because I've had to. 5 kids, 6 kids, 1 dead, 5 living. And on the ocean floor, you got to be slicker than snot on a doorknob. You have to come up and obtain every nuance, every syllable, letter, period, comma, facial expression, attitude, voice tone, voice expression, voice accents, right? You got to do it, or you ain't gonna make it. You just got to, because you got to judge character at each moment, even that you're talking to. I talk to someone, right in their eye, always eyes confident. I'm always eye to eye, without question. You have to be. So I can read people like a pamphlet. Right, so on we go. The Philippine lady, man, she helped me out on the money because they had stopped the payments for my kids, their survivor's benefits for when their mother died, right? As it were, they stopped when they turned a certain age, and I had thought that money that child got would go to the next child, totaling 800 something like that, right? I thought they were splitting a certain amount, but they were only getting a certain amount. Well, I didn't know that. So I call up and I say, hey, my kid's thingy didn't come through several times, right? I got things like, well, let me look into it. No, the check's in the mail. Next month they'll listen. Telling me on the phone. Next month you're going to get it doubled. You're fine. You're okay. Don't worry about it, right? Telling me this. When that Filipino lady, Pacific Islander lady, told me, oh, no, that's not it. Right here, on section D, paragraph 4, line item 6, it says this is what you get. And I go, oh, okay, that's what I want to know. I need to know the information. I'm not going to get crazy. What are you going to do on the phone? Make them give you more money? You're just not going to do it. Found that out decades ago that watching other people try and argue their way into, what they're not going to get, right? When I do that, I just shut it off. Okay, thank you for your help, and thank you for your time, and I move on, right? So I take them at their word, and I hang up this, and about 4 or 5 calls, 4 or 5 months later, right? I finally got a hold of this lady, and she finally tells me that no, your child doesn't get that. Like, okay, then that's what I need to know so I can plan accordingly. Ain't none of this I'm angry, I don't care. It's their mother's money to them, which pisses me off, and if they're due it, they should get it. But if it's in the rules that stipulate that they do not, then okay, I'm good with that. But I need to know to plan my budget accordingly. Months, they strung me. Months, they strung me. And I'll tell you who strung me. African American people, okay? Every time I got a hold of an African American accent, you can tell. Like I said, and now let me go to this part. This will be a long video, since this is a long subject. When I was in Germany, right, when I flew to Germany, being, in the Army, I flew in and stationed there. Oh man, I thought, wow, look at this shit, the land of the white man. I wasn't thinking like, man, I'm in, right? I was just curious as a man of the world that this is alleged to be the white supremacy, all that thing, land of the white man and Aryan race kind of thing. But when I went in, I had the hair long as it on. I don't believe, people are people all over the world. That's the deal. I don't hold prejudice. Well, I hold grudges pretty good. But as far as black, white, green, blue, yellow, as far as I'm concerned, if you show me your face or your ass, I deal with which end comes first. I couldn't give a flying fish less what color it is. The way I live is Mr. Parker, Mr. Ed Parker, the founder of Kenpo Karate, right? Whatever the attitude, so is the response. That's how I deal with my life. I'm that and a reality-based mindset, right? So none of this racial thing is in this video or in my comments. And I'll tell you what really cured me of that. These Aryan Germans, right? They hate our guts, okay? We're not them. They hate Americans just as much as they hate any black, white, green, or yellow. I've been bombed. I've been, maligned. Fellow soldiers were kidnapped. We were in parades, right, with a uniform, like the victory parades or whatever, memorials, right? And they would throw water balloons filled with shit. Okay, that's what shit is. Shit's called shit, so I'm calling it shit, right? Balloons of shit at us. Even if we're in convoys, going down the straws and all that, they know. I learned true hate. I learned true hatred. The truest, quintessential, deepest hatred when I went to Germany from these particular people. I'm not saying Germany as a whole, because that was a wonderful place. I would go there and live. Not now, but I learned hatred, boy, and any of that, you nigger this, you beaner that, you cracker this and that, right? They squeezed it right out of me like a bar towel, right? I didn't have any of that when I came back. Nigger was a foul word. I would let my kids say all the other words. They say nigger in my home, they would pay. There's no call for that. None. And that's what I taught them. That's how we were raised. Okay, so on we go. So don't think that I'm saying it's, that's because of that's this and that. Like, no, I'm responding to stimulus. Okay, now, every single time I got on the phone or I went down to the Social Security office and got an African American person to help me, they screwed me. They absolutely and completely screwed me. Without a blink of an eye. I tell you this now to be the truth, to be the fact. I'm not trying to denigrate anyone. I don't care. I know what it's like to be denigrated. I know what it's like to be a welcome mat or a not welcome mat and being stepped on, smashed, stabbed, butt raped, wiped up the floor with. I know. You can rest a... You can rest assured, I know what it's like to be discriminated against, to be hated with every fiber of whatever hatred person's coming up with it. I've been hated that bad. I don't like it. I don't do it. Okay? I don't. Let's move on. Every time I went to the Social Security office or called it, if it got to the point where if I heard that drawl, it's their accent, right? Just like me, I have this California thing, always saying right, you know, and then the Southern drawls, they all have their particular dialect, right? Every time I heard that, I would hang up the phone. And the way I got that Filipino girl is when I called and I hear that, the Ibano, whatever, I don't know what they call it. You know, I don't know. I don't really get all up in that thing, right? I would hang up the phone and call back to see if I could get someone else. That's when I got the Filipino lady, after the 3 people that wouldn't help me or lie to me, flat out lie to me, and told me the status of my children's Social Security account, right? When I go to the office, you know, I can't say, you know, African American person become a black person, which has always eluded me. I don't know what reference. You know, they call me white person, black person, European American, but then I'm not. My family's been here for 400 years or better. I can't reject when an African American Social Security worker takes me to his desk in the back, right? So I had to run with it. Sure enough. I say, what's this? What's that? Why am I being charged this? Where is it coming from? What do I do to stop it? How can I fix this? Or am I to accept this and move on? Without a question, without a doubt, without a step missed, he diddles on his computer, can't say he can find a flippin' thing about it, right? Couldn't find a thing about it. Hands me the paper that I said I've turned in several of these. 5 at least, 3 that I can document with fax machine. Oh, well, okay, well, let me put my name on the envelope, the big manila envelope, right? Fill this paper out and send it in. The last I heard of it. Never heard a thing. Then I called back, you know, a couple weeks ago, so did you get my letter? What? Sure enough, it was a black person on the phone. What? I don't know. No, I'm sorry, I can't find it. Like, it was a big giant envelope with your address with a thing and sent to blah blah. Not a thing. Not a thing. Nothing. They said, well, Mr. Reed, we'll see, blah, 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 but, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, wait a minute. He said, well, you'll have to come down. And that's the reason I came down to get that paper from that guy. Was the person on the phone said, oh, well, we can't find it. You'll have to come down here. Right? Okay. I go down. I get the envelope and the letter. Send back to the Social Security Administration. Now, I finally said, oh, forget it. I'm going down there, you know, and it was bad. Because I had an appointment with the VA, you know, and I went down there and I found another office. I went in there, 3.5 hours, I sit. Just before closing, they call me. Older white fellow is behind the counter, right? Okay, Mr. Reed, well, you know, blah, blah. I say, well, I have these papers that they sent me. The guy that sent me yet more papers in a big fat, right? And I can't understand half of this, and plus some of it wants me to admit some I have no idea I did. I don't know where this money you're asking me I got. I don't know where I got it. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? So I can define it, say, oh yeah, you're right, no, you're wrong. I can't do it because I don't know what you're talking about. Right? He gets on his computer. Diddle, diddle, diddle. Oh, look at here. Well, do you own a truck? I go, yeah. Well, that's a second vehicle. Oh, diddle, diddle, diddle. You own this? Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that's because of this and that. And diddle, diddle. Oh, is this what's going on here? And I go, well, no, not really. That's way back. That's not. In minutes, this older white fellow, right, diddles up my whole thing. Within 20 minutes, I was abreast of most all of what these people were talking about. 20 minutes. After 2 years of dealing with African American people at the Social Security Administration. I'm going to, now, when it cools off, I'm going to go down and I'm going to file a complaint. I'm going to file agreements for racial discrimination against the Social Security Administration. Without question. Without question, I'm going to file it. Because I don't think I deserved what I got. I'm always polite, nice, and never do I go off on the phone. Never do I go off on any public official, any cashier, anyone that's doing their job. If I don't agree with it, I just say, okay, thank you for your help. And I just try to seek another avenue, leave it alone, or whatever the case may be. Never do I go off, ever do I go off on the phone or with someone that I'm trying to deal with, and they don't quite come up with what satisfy my, AT&T, boy, they come damn close, and I want to file a dang lawsuit against them for terrorism, for domestic terrorism, for what they did to me and are doing. Let's move on. The older white fellow, he diddles everything up and tells me. And he goes, and even helps me fill out the paperwork that was sent to me. The second time after the big manila envelope that the African-American young fellows had given me to fill out and put in the big giant envelope. Right? Like that. Minutes. I'm like, I said, the guy up there in Buffalo, he told me he couldn't find anything. He told me, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Here, you'll have to fill this out, put this in the mail, and then we'll get this and we'll schedule something or something. It wasn't really clear what my paperwork would result in. Not to mention the fact, I said, well, I sent in several of these. I've been sending them in for 2 years. Well, we don't seem to find them here, Mr. Reed. Like, what are you talking about? How did you lose these letters? Several letters. And then I come in here because your letter told me to come in here and discuss it with you and to clarify it. And you yet cannot clarify it? Then, like I said, I go to the other office, I get an older white gentleman, clears it up in minutes, mostly. It's still a little, but he cleared it up. Within 10 minutes, he cleared the whole thing, like I said, mostly. Most of it up, because I didn't ask about why the kids were billed. I asked about me because I forgot about that. Right? That's discrimination. That's racial discrimination right there. I'm sorry. Plain and clear. And they have the gall to sit there and bitch, piss, and moan about how they're treated when they're the ones working at Social Security with that job? Really? My ass ain't working behind that counter. I can't get that job. Right? They screwed me. Every time I got an African-American person, black person, which one of them would tell me, how would you like to be referred to? When we're speaking of your, right, I don't know, see, I'm a fish on the ocean floor, so I don't know. I have no real agenda except for raise my kids and live a nice, comfortable life. If you want to too, then I'm with you. I will help you do anything you want. I don't care what you are. Don't care. I've been to Europe. I've been to places where, I'll tell you what, like I said, long video. Muslims, right? Well, man, this is a long video. You should see the hatred in their eyes. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it. Walking down the street and they're looking at you. Okay, but you know what was worse? them Muslim folks, they didn't have a patch on them Aryans. Them Aryans, boy, they'll pull the head off of your neck and drink the blood. They hate us so much. We're Americans. You know, whatever, bro. Okay, I've seen the face of hate. Seen it. Dealt with it. So I'm not putting this on as a hatred thing, except for what people bring to me. So that's my video. I gotta go do this. I get $20 more for my, you know, well, that's cool. But still, I got screwed. They screwed me bad. Some old fat white guy, right? And they say, you know, they hear me on the phone. They know by my name. They judge on the phone and looking at you just as much as, you know, the other way around. And you know what they're saying. And I know now. Now I know because I've had 2 examples of being helped and then several examples of not being helped from the Social Security Administration by the black employees of Social Security. And I'm going to file a complaint. I'm going to file a grievance. Now I got this. Well, thank you, Social Security, but still, years and years of something I shouldn't have been paying for, that I tried to clear up, that tried to alleviate, that tried to get a waiver for. And because of the racial discrimination that your employees have perpetrated against me, I've gone through hell. Hell. My wife died, and they screwed me still. I had 2 kids. I was a single parent. I was a single parent within a heartbeat. And they screwed me. They screwed me. Screwed me bad. Lie, cheat, connive, hide, lose. Everything in their power of what they could do in some manner or fashion of disrepute, they did it to me. Witnessed it, saw it, then had examples of what they should do to compare to their effort. In a nutshell, racial discrimination against a white person by the black people employed at the Social Security Administration. So there it is. That's my video. Live by your wits, not by your worries. Peace. Bye.